Good morning, everyone. I have an itchy nose again. Good morning and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at headlines from our city, our state, our country, and we take a look at your questions, your comments, your ideas about what to do in Puerto Vallarta, how to stay happy and sane, and how to stay engaged in this community we call home as a community of English-speaking locals. Today is Friday, November 12th, and I am very, very happy to see you, or to see your comments, and to see your little Facebook icons. I'm trying to activate a poll, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm being successful at it because Facebook is not responding as fast as it usually does. But I am trying to ask you, let me see, have I been able to do this or not? The poll this morning is, where do you live? It is active. Good. You're answering. Oh, fantastic. So I'm just curious as to where you live. Whether you live south of the Río Cuale here in Puerto Vallarta, or north of the Río Cuale, or elsewhere in Banderas Bay, or elsewhere in the world. I am onto something, and I'll be happy to tell you what I'm onto later on when we take a look at the results of this question. Meanwhile, as always, we have all kinds of news to share that might be important to you. Hopefully they will be. And we have some interesting news. We have Tómala news today. We have some shocking news about those nice people that we call Reglamentos that go around businesses in town, opening or shutting down businesses that misbehave, and we'll elaborate on that when we get into the news. But first, as always, if you are new, Linda, I don't know if this is, well, it has a Q, so I'm going to assume that this question is for me. Am I activated? Well, I'm on my second cup of coffee, so I'm getting there. I didn't sleep all that well last night, which means there's a high possibility that I'll have an awesome siesta this afternoon. That's usually the way it works out for me. But enough about me. As I was saying, if you are new, let us know. Let us know by writing the word new, and we'll be so happy to give you a nice little welcome, which we love doing. And if there's something important like that you'd like to find out, such as whether I'm activated or not, just add a letter Q, a capital Q at the beginning of your comment or question. And that way we'll be looking for those in the second half of the broadcast, and we will be addressing them here live unless we miss them, and then we'll take a look at them afterwards. So it's time to go. So let me just go ahead and hit the button and get into the headlines. Well, yesterday we announced PROFECO's intention to sanction domestic airlines if they continued with the practice of surcharging passengers for their carry-on bag, and this intention became reality right here in Puerto Vallarta. Yesterday, agents of the Federal Attorney's Office for Consumer Protection, or PROFECO, attached suspension stickers at, try saying that really quickly on 2 cups of coffee, attached suspension stickers at the Viva Aerobus and Volaris airport counters in Puerto Vallarta and San Luis Potosí for such practice because of the fact that PROFECO continues to receive complaints from customers about this practice in several cities around the country, such as Guadalajara, Puerto Vallarta, Culiacán, and Chihuahua. If you're not in the know, Mexican airlines, and I'm sure that some low-cost airlines elsewhere, tend to announce very, very low prices. But then once you start going through the reservation process, they start adding little surcharges to this, that, and the other. And the Consumer Protection Agency just does not think kindly about this. Speaking of consumer protection, Puerto Vallarta Mayor, this is big. Puerto Vallarta Mayor Luis Michel had a number of Reglamentos inspectors removed from office after listening to complaints by the Malecón Association of Businesses, Bars, and Restaurants here in Puerto Vallarta. According to the association, Reglamentos Director José Luis Pelayo, Subdirector Ignacio Abarca, and 3 other inspectors displayed or have displayed a level of arrogance, abuse of power, and an overall unfriendly disposition that has nothing to do with being a public servant when they tried to shut down 3 venues without due process. The article features a transcript of the document sent to Mayor Michel by the association, including a blow-by-blow of what actually went on, should you care to put your Google Translator to good use. For the rest of us, what's good about this news item is that Mayor Michel, despite some of his missteps, continues to show signs that he will not tolerate an administration with corruption or abuse of power. I have important news to share. I read 2 separate headlines this morning indicating that the Iste Clinic has a limited number of Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines available for seniors that have not received a single dose, or for those that are missing the second dose. It is a total of 300 doses. So if you are missing out, you may want to head to the Iste Clinic today. Unfortunately, the article does not mention which clinic specifically, but I am guessing it is the one on Francisco Villa Avenue. If you happen to still be unvaccinated, this is a good opportunity to go ahead and get this done. We also learned that 187,390 other vaccines from CanSino, AstraZeneca, and Pfizer were received in Guadalajara, and State Secretary of Health Fernando Peterson informed that these would be made available for leftover campaigns, although the article does not specify in which cities they will be distributed. Hopefully we'll get an update about this sometime in the near future. This one I think is going to be interesting, or maybe it won't, but Seapal announced 15 days of water shortages or low pressure in most areas of the city. This is partly due to maintenance work and also due to the fact that the Mascota River, one of our city's primary sources of water, changed its course after the overflow that took place during the Hurricane Nora. But just as interesting, hopefully, in the article is this first expression at the beginning of the headline, ya bailó. And ya bailó is a very popular, very common Spanish expression. Bailar is the infinitive of to dance. But what does dancing have to do with water shortages? Absolutely nothing. But the expression ya bailó is commonly used to indicate a situation that is about to get worse. I thought it was really cute and funny that the paper chose to use that expression here. Let me continue with news, if I may. In this article, we learn that two important street improvement projects that were supposed to be concluded by the past administration were not. And we've talked about these before, but it's nice to get an update as to where things are today. We are talking, of course, of both Montessori Street and Las Flores Avenue, which I'll show you on a map in a minute. According to Public Works Director Eliu Sanchez, Montessori Street is about 80% complete and it should be finished by December, but Las Flores Avenue is 70% complete with no completion date in sight. Let me turn over to a Google map just to show you where they are and why they're important. Montessori is this street here that runs along Palmar de Aramara, and we've talked about this street before. This is the one street that got super flooded during the rain season, and water went into several homes, and it was very stressful for people living in that entire neighborhood, of course. And the other avenue, which is Las Flores Avenue, is close to the airport. It's this one avenue here, right as you get to the airport detour at the end of Marina Vallarta. And what's important about this avenue is that it connects directly with the International Convention Center. It's one of the few easy accesses to the convention center. So, of course, it is a very important throughway in the city, and hopefully the city will be able to finish these sooner than later. Let us now turn over to the weather just to see what we can expect this weekend, because after all, it is Friday. So here we go. Let's take a look at the weather. And snarky weather is unusually poetic today. I won't know what to hate with the passion of 10,000 suns without a YouTube dislike counter. There's a lot of poetry in that statement, but actually we know that, just in case it matters to you, that YouTube is removing their dislike button because of apparent campaigns, smearing campaigns that haters out there are putting into place or trying to put into place by massively disliking certain videos to discredit their sources. So apparently YouTube has decided that the hate or dislike button will be discontinued. But that's not nearly as important as the fact that we're enjoying 27 degrees Celsius right now. Humidity is 69%. And our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 81. What can we expect for this weekend? Well, it is going to be humid today with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 21. Tomorrow, Saturday, it'll be a humid day as well, high temperature of 32, low temperature 20. And Sunday, more humidity, high temperature of 31, low temperature of 20. Moving right along with other quick headlines before we dive into our neighborhood profile. I forgot to mention today we have neighborhood profile, and we're going to explore El Remance in just a few minutes. But first, sad news. So we were all excited about the possibility of the gay games coming to Guadalajara City in 2026. But the Gay Games Search Committee made their decision as they promised, and they chose the city of Valencia instead of Puerto Vallarta. So Guadalajara and Munich, which were the two other finalist cities, will simply have to reapply. And last but not least, we have an update. Apparently, the nice folks that installed a kiosk on a public lamppost to run it as a party center, yes, a party center, we reported this a couple of days ago, they will be sanctioned, which is probably well-deserved, but I must admit I had sort of warmed up to the idea because of its creativity. Who would think to put a kiosk on top of an outdoor public lamppost? Well, someone in the state of Mexico, as we reported a few days ago, somebody tipped the authorities and the kiosk was dismantled, and now somebody is going to be fined. That is just the way it is. So let's take a quick look at your... Oh, no, we're not doing comments yet, although This one just popped. Does Puerto Vallarta ever enjoy 26 degrees? Says Cheryl, which is really funny. Yes, we occasionally enjoy 26, and we enjoy lower temperatures. It's been getting cooler at night. Let me just say that. So, without further ado, and I hate that phrase. Who likes the phrase "without further ado"? It's just a crazy phrase that whenever I see it, it just makes me, I don't know. I don't like it. Anyhow, without further ado, let us take a quick look at our neighborhood profile. Let me set this up, and I think we are good to go. Of course, we're not good to go. Come on. Show me Keynote. Show me that. There you go. So, today we are discussing El Remance, which is this little kidney over here. I call it a kidney. It's next to the Rio Cuale. We can see that there is Altavista left of it here. And Las Canoas is directly north. And Benito Juarez is to the right. And Benito Juarez is also under El Remance. But, you know, if you walk down the Rio Cuale, you're eventually going to get there. It's not far from Emiliano Zapata. Now, here's the interesting thing, because this came up in the last couple of broadcasts. If you ask Google Maps to show you El Remance, you get the kidney. And if you ask Google to show you Colonia Benito Juarez, you get what's around El Remance, but not El Remance itself. So is El Remance its own colonia, or is it part of Benito Juarez? And does it matter? Well, if you are buying property or seeking permits to make construction or additions to your property, you'd probably want to make sure that your official papers are properly written, of course. But for the rest of us, at least as far as we're concerned, all we want to do here is make sure that you don't miss out if El Remance comes up in conversation, or have at least a vague idea of where it is located, so you can go out and explore it on your own. And explore it on your own is exactly what we're going to do now, because it's Wednesday and we're walking. Or is it Wednesday? Or maybe, does it matter? Hello. Hello. As you know, we are discussing El Remance, this little neighborhood located next to the Rio Cuale, or sandwiched between the Rio Cuale and the Libramiento. Now, we've been on this side of the river before, but when we were here before, we did not actually go into the neighborhood. So what we're going to do today is we're going to walk down a couple of streets so we can, buenas tardes, so we can get a sense as to what kind of homes or houses or buildings can be found here. There are a couple of landmarks that I want to point out. Parenthetically, you know, the water level on the river has decreased considerably after the rain season. And let me take a quick shot here just so you can see what things are starting to look like. I know that further ahead, buenas tardes. I know that further ahead are some of the CEAPAL facilities, and I know that CEAPAL has been busy fixing them up. Fast forward. Now this is quite interesting because
I'm about to have a senior moment.
According to Google, actually before I go there, let me take a photo of one of the landmarks here, and it's right across from me, and that would be the famous restaurant.
Senior moment.
The Red Cabbage. It's a famous Mexican restaurant that has been here forever. Let me take another photo. Maybe this will be better.
I had to
It's
get
the
close
red
enough
building.
to read the sign.
But what I was getting distracted by is this sign in front of me that says Bienvenido a la colonia Benito Juárez Fueras. Hola.
Hola.
Google says that this colonia is Remance. So I'm going to trust Google because that's about as good a point of reference as I have. So we're going to go one street in just to see what we find. This is a very Mexican neighborhood. But check out this building right in front of me. I mean, that's a beautiful, I don't know if this is a single family home or a multiple family home, but I mean, just this house in the corner is quite lovely. So we're going to go one block in to see what we can find as we walk around the neighborhood.
So we're just going around the kidney. And Roland, yes, I edit my photos because I want to make sure that they show more detail than my video
We're walking
camera
down
does.
Valentin Gomez Farias Street, and we're going to continue walking along this street just to see what else we find. We're going to talk about this colonia during the broadcast, but of course, since I happen to be in the neighborhood today, we might as well take a quick look around here. As you can see, most of the homes here are very basic, but nice advantages of living in this vicinity is that you're close enough to the Libramiento. Buenas tardes. So you're close enough to a main street, you're close enough to Emiliano Zapata, and I believe there's public transportation that goes along the river. I could be mistaken on that one. Cobblestone streets.
Hi,
Sidewalks
Julie.
don't look particularly friendly or unfriendly. And just in front of me here on the left side, a newer building. So, needless to say, I can anticipate that more and more buildings like that will come here. And then across the street, check out how wonderful this urban ruin looks. Right behind it, of course, is the Libramiento.
No offense taken, Roland. Quite the contrary. I very much appreciate your comment. I just want to make sure that you get the details. And this will become apparent in a second because there's a very dark place that I'm going to show in a minute. There's a little convenience store on the left that I forgot to point out.
I cannot imagine rents being very high around here. And I don't know of any people that live in this neighborhood.
But if you do, let us
But
know.
again, some of the properties are very nicely kept. Look at this house here in the corner. Beautifully painted. To my right, steps that lead up to the Libramiento, and a very mysterious tunnel that a woman just came out of. So that tunnel must allow you to get to the other side of the Libramiento, but underground. I seriously doubt that that is lit. So I would not want to do that at night. Now, here's an interesting story that I want to share. Right here is Tacos Mar y Tierra. Now, Tacos Mar y Tierra was on Calle Francia, at the intersection of Francia and the Libramiento, not the Libramiento, Calle Francia and Francisco Medina Asensio for the longest time. And they relocated here. And I have not been to this new location. But if it's anything like it used to be, it's gotta be fabulous, because their tacos were always really good. Of course, these are evening tacos, so we don't get to sample them today. I'm setting up something special for Roland because he's asking good questions. I'm gonna show you my walking tour machine at the end of the walking tour. Now I'm walking down the sidewalk. As you can see, sidewalks here come in all kinds of shapes. Not particularly wheelchair friendly. But I'm hoping that just this little walk through the colonia will give you a sense as to what you can find here. We are, again, 1 block away from the Libramiento, and I know that there's a fried chicken shop.
Not fried.
Right on the Libramiento. There's also a kiosco. So if you needed to go shopping for essentials,
one of those rotisseries, I meant.
You can do that. There's a doggy with a coconut, maybe? An old ball. What do you got, doggy? We don't know what the doggy has, but he
was so
quite
happy.
happy with it.
I'm loving your comments today, by the way. There's so many great questions and comments. We'll get to those in a second. And no, Roland, you're not asking too much. That's what we're here for.
Here's another nice looking property. Hard to tell if this is a new construction or if it was built some time ago. So this has been just a little quick and dirty exploration of this colonia. Again, the boundaries of the colonia seem to be different according to Google, but for better or worse, I'm gonna go with what Google has to say. And now we're coming out on the Libramiento.
We're almost done.
The kiosco shop I was just talking about, here on the right hand side. You may be wondering, why am I here other than checking out El Remance? And the reason is that I want to walk into this shop that sells artisan cheese.
Oh, yummy.
Because last time I was here, I bought some heavenly panela.
Heavenly.
And we're going to do that again today. But as long as I'm here, we're going to take a quick look at the shop. Buenas tardes. So this is the traditional Michoacan cheese shop. And this is the time in which I'm going to say goodbye, because I'm going to go shopping. So, welcome to Colonia Remance. Ciao.
And that was our quick and dirty of Colonia Remance. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Anyhow, that was our quick and dirty of about this colonia. It's strictly neighborhood, strictly Mexican. Well, probably not strictly Mexican, but very traditional, very quiet. I don't know how the colonia is at night. I don't know how safe it is. So if anybody has any questions about this, any comments about what it's like to live there, I will be looking for those in the show notes. In the show notes. Okay, Paco, you need more coffee. In the comments, that's where I'm going to be looking for your comments about Colonia El Remance. So now it is time to get into the chit chat section. In case you're curious about how you answered the survey, let me show the results in the video. According to those of you that are here on board, 20% of you live south of the Rio Cuale, 31% of you live north of the Rio Cuale, 8% of you live elsewhere in Bahia de Banderas or other places in Mexico, I suppose, and 41% of you live elsewhere in the world. The reason we were asking this is because in conversation recently, we've wondered, I have a couple of friends that are moving out of Colonia Emiliano Zapata and moving north of the Rio Cuale, and somehow they have been used to the lifestyle of Emiliano Zapata and the comforts that this neighborhood brings to English-speaking folk. And I have been wondering just how apprehensive some people might be feeling about leaving the comfort of increasingly expensive Emiliano Zapata and heading to other parts of the city that may be less expensive but may not provide as much of a cultural cushion for those that speak English and very little Spanish. But we'll save that one for another time. Now let us take a quick look at your comments from today, which I've been watching and been really, really enjoying. Good mornings all around, which is a wonderful thing. The first smile that I got this morning from during the broadcast came from Albert, who said, "Every time I see a new colonia, I want to live there." I think that's really awesome. Ultimately, this is about getting on your comfortable shoes and exploring the surroundings. And there's so much to see in our city. It's not even funny. Let's see what else we have. Lena's going on a road trip. I hope that is a wonderful road trip wherever you're going. There's a queue. What percentage of your followers are tourists? Stay less than 2 to 3 months. Would be fun to do a poll. Maybe not, Paula. We, for better or worse, we bill ourselves as a broadcast and a project that is for English-speaking locals. There are many, many resources online. There is so much information for tourism-related questions that we've decided to focus on this very narrow niche. We know we attract certain tourists to the broadcast. We don't know how many tourists show up. The only reason we know that there are tourists here is because they ask touristy questions, which we're not as eager to answer as the other questions that affect us as English-speaking locals. So would it be fun to do a poll? Not for me. Not for me. Sorry. Let's see what else we have. You guys did the poll. You voted. I love it. Thank you very much for your reports. Sometimes Facebook takes a while to update their screens from this vantage point, so it is always comforting when I get some confirmation from you guys. Oh my God, Sherry's coming back. In 4 weeks, I will be living in Puerto Vallarta for 11 weeks. Good for you. Let's see what else. Chris asks, where is the poll? I happen to know that sometimes Facebook shows polls differently, whether you're looking at a computer or whether you're looking at a phone or this, that, and the other. So if you don't see the poll, my apologies. It's beyond my control. Let's see what else we have. Javier Mendoza commented, "Tómala." It must have been one of those news items that we shared.
Let's see. Sheila comments, we have been here 3 weeks and notice many people not wearing masks. Is this because it's not well posted that people should wear masks, or that people do do not know where to find out what the COVID protocols are? Oh, Sheila, that is such a loaded question. I think the government makes their guidelines publicly available to the best of their ability. We certainly repeat them quite frequently here. And I think a lot of people don't wear masks because they think they shouldn't have to. Some people are not catching on to the guidelines. The guidelines haven't changed all that much. So I don't know what to tell you, Sheila. All I can tell you is what Lena very eloquently said. You do what you are comfortable with. If you don't feel comfortable somewhere because people aren't wearing masks, then leave. And that's what I've been doing. That's because ultimately we cannot control the behavior of other people, unfortunately. People have to take ownership of their own actions. And the best we can do is to gravitate towards places or situations or people that are like minded. And I hope that helps in clarifying your question. Paula says, I had no idea you were going to do a poll this morning. Well, Paula, neither did I. And that's the way it happens more often than not. Let's see what else we have. We answered that one. Where are all of the strippers going to go if their kiosk is gone? Well, I would publicize my address, but no, I don't think I'm going to do that today. Let's see what else. And then I was fascinated by Roland's stream of questions about the photo looking prettier than the video. My video in general is a lot more complicated to edit to make look pretty. And that's why I got in the habit, Roland, of doing still photographs as I'm doing the video, because a lot of times that allows me to zoom in on the specific section, and a lot of times a photograph being easier to edit allows for better clarity. And as long as we're here, I know that you asked later on about my setup. I'm going to show it to you because I love to geek out. This is the Walking Wednesday machine. What you're looking at is an old Panasonic Lumix LX5 in the bottom. This is what I used to do the still photos whenever I add the click sound effect. And yes, that click that you hear is a sound effect. It's part of the production process. And on top of it, I have an Insta360 360-degree camera. This camera is wonderful and peculiar because it has two lenses, one on this side and one on the other. And the two lenses combined take a 360-degree image or video that I can then edit to my liking. So I'm narrating and taking photos and taking video at the same time, and that's how the whole thing comes about. And in case you're wondering, there is a whole trend of videos that are done this way, which are called POV videos, in which point of view videos are the ones in which a photographer usually has a camera in their hand, and then they have either a video camera attached to the still camera like I do, or they have a video camera attached on a helmet, or in one way or another. And it's a great way to get to know places. So if you search POV videos on YouTube, you will find some great walking tours from all kinds of places. Sorry about the geek moment, but you pushed my buttons, and I love it when people are curious about the process. Let's see what else. Logie says, Red Cabbage, the very first dinner I had on the very first night I visited Vallarta, fond memories. You know, I've been to the Red Cabbage once and I haven't been back, and that's neither good or bad. That's just the way it is. There's so many great restaurants here in town. Dave gives us some feedback. Nice area about El Remance. Some great homes, but still some rough characters living around there. Well, I think that can be said of about just any neighborhood here in Puerto Vallarta, Dave. I'm sure that there are some neighborhoods that are rougher than others, but yeah. Tomas saw the condos that he was talking about. Okay, let's see what else. Ping building on the left. Studio recently went for 9,000 pesos a month. A studio for 9,000 pesos a month in El Remance, that seems like a lot of money to me. I wonder if it was furnished or unfurnished. But it's a great neighborhood if you want to be close to Emiliano Zapata, for example. Let's see what else we have. Then Dave commented on the Pollo Asado guy that is right on the Libramiento. I've smelled the place. I've never actually eaten there, but when you go by car, and your Uber drives by it, it's like you take a whiff, and yes, the chicken smells fantastic. Let's see. What time of the day was your walk? Very few people out and about. And what time of day? Yeah, there seems to be a couple of questions about this. When was it that I went? It was Monday or Tuesday. It was Tuesday. It was Tuesday that I went because I had to go to. I went to the yarn store and I went to the market, and we showed that walking tour on Wednesday. And because the Emiliano Zapata market is right around the corner, and I wanted to get some panela cheese from the artisan cheese shop, and I'll get to that in a second, I figured might as well walk a little bit of Remance. So it must have been around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and yeah, there were not that many people out and about. I don't know if it's because of the weather or because that's just the nature of the colonia. Let's see what else. That little dog was on a mission, absolutely, and I thought it was really funny. Thank you for showing us the Artisan Cheese Shop. Jenny, it is a great place to stop for artisan cheese. They get their shipments daily from the state of Michoacan, and I always get panela. And I will make a confession. I promised myself I would save the panela because I wanted to show you how to deal with sweaty panela, because the cheese, due to its curdling process, it continues to sweat once you bring it home, and nobody likes a soggy panela. And I don't mean that with double entendre, although I could. And I'm not even going to explain that. Never mind. But there are ways in which you can store your panela in your refrigerator to keep it from sweating and to keep it from getting all soggy and yucky. And I thought I would put together a little video, but guess what? Hunger took the best of me, or got the best of me, and I ended up going into the panela, and I'll just have to go and buy more panela and demonstrate how to manage panela in your refrigerator. If that is something that you're interested in, we can do that some other time. Good morning, Paco. As always, love your show. My question is to you or other viewers. Heard about quite a few people arriving in Mexico that are now getting far less than 180 days now. Sheil, I couldn't tell you because I live here. I don't know what the deal is with immigration guidelines these days. I would assume that immigration must have a nice, helpful website that one can consult. Or if anybody has any answers or comments about this, hopefully we'll get to read them before the broadcast is over. Dave has a lot of comments about it. Remance, you must have lived there, and if you mentioned that before and I missed it, I'm sorry if I missed it. But yeah, the cheese store is great. Let's see what else we have. Let's see what else we have. Oh, and before I forget, my goodness, I have to mention that next week we are going to talk about Lázaro Cárdenas, and this will be the 14th neighborhood that we've explored on a weekly basis on a Friday out of a total of 22 Puerto Vallarta neighborhoods we set out to explore. Not bad. We are past the middle mark. And of course, once we get done with all those neighborhoods, we will go and explore others that yours truly is not even familiar with. And how fun is that going to be? Oh, John, I need to prepare for that. Don't forget to tell me about the Raton con dos patas song. I promised you. Yes, I did. I will probably do that sometime next week. It's actually a very, very sexist song, and it's very funny. We'll talk about Rata de dos patas at some point. Let's see what else.
Da-dee-da-dee-da-da. If anyone wants to learn Spanish, I am starting a class at the American English Tree for all levels of Espanol and English grade school. Thank you for sharing, Monica. I am always so eager to find out how people keep busy. And if you are a Spanish teacher, good for you. I'm sure that some people will be interested in getting together with you or getting in touch with you directly. Mucha suerte. Best of luck with that. Let's see what else. Jenny says, love the mean, lean walking machine. So do I, actually. I have a lot of fun doing the walking tours. Roland asks, difficult to carry that whole setup during the walk? Seems like your arm would get tired fast. Also not a criticism. No, I have a stick. And that's not... I have a stick. And the stick goes under the camera, and I hold the whole thing on a stick. Fortunately, it's not all that heavy, and that's what makes it easy to do. Let's see what else. Mark comments on his PVR trip that had all kinds of surcharges. I am sorry to hear that. Bait and switch. Let's see. Wipe that smile off your face when I talked about the soggy panela. Okay, I have to level up with you. Panela is slang for vagina. So there you have it. So soggy panela, dry panela. Okay, I'm blushing like a schoolgirl. I'm not going to go there. And Jenny gives me that word again. I have a stick. See, you guys bring out the worst in me. I swear to God. And this is probably a good moment to stop. Wanda Thomas says regarding 180 days, lots of info in other sites. And that is my point precisely. We don't mean to not want to answer tourist-related questions. It is just that there is an abundance of places to get that kind of information. And in those places, unfortunately, you will not find out about the quaint neighborhood. You will not find out about the kooky little panela shop. You will not find out about all those details that in my mind are more important and valuable to us as English-speaking locals. So if I'm wrong in that assertion, please let me know, because ultimately we want to be the place where, as English-speaking locals, you are going to find the answers and the connections that you need. With that said, I think it's a good time to stop. And yes, as Roland says, I kind of went there. So let us get the soggy panela out of our minds. Let us go and enjoy. Let us go and enjoy a good weekend. And let us come back tomorrow if you want more sogginess and more polls and more merriment of this, that, and the other kind here at Coffee and Headlines. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. I was really looking forward to seeing you this morning, and now I am looking. Marie, you'll be the last comment that I'll put on the screen. Do I have a stick with panela on top? That's disgusting. Have a great weekend, you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.